Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle, and who's here with me?
It's JD.
It's JD. It's
Woo-hoo.
always JD. It's always Michelle, except for that one time. And we don't talk about that one time.
Yeah, maybe eventually it'll be those two times, and then maybe later, maybe eventually it'll just become It's Always Us, except when it's not. And then we don't ever have to talk about that one time ever again.
That sounds like you're planning on murdering me, and so it'll never be me.
Maybe I'm planning on murdering myself, Michelle. Oh, this is the therapy portion of the show.
Oh, perfect. Let's get into it.
If you've never tuned into We Watch Shudder before, hi, we're talking about murder and self-murder and right off the bat.
Self-murder. I do like that as opposed to using the word suicide. He self-murdered. He was a self-murderer.
Well, the difference is when it's self-murder, you probably deserved it.
Controversial take. The things we say are jokes and not always reflective of our actual
Yeah, guys, seriously, if you understand this is coping talk right now, and if you're having any serious struggles, please, by all means, reach out to somebody. Reach out to us. We'll find somebody in your area that can help you. I got the internet. I can help you figure it out. But
reach out to us. JD can help you out. I can send you memes. I'm not a great emotional support person. Comedy is how you deal.
Oh, I'm that person who, I can do, what do they call it, the mom loophole or whatever, where it's I can stand up to people and do all sorts of things when it's not on my own behalf. Like, when somebody else needs the help, I can go dig for it and find it and tell them exactly who they need to call. Just don't ask me to do it for myself, you know?
I'm a pushover in all regards. I'm very consistent and reliable in that way, that I will never be helpful. I am very good at turning off my emotions and handling a crisis.
That's nonsense, Michelle. You're very helpful all the time.
If it's a logical thing of hey, can you do this spreadsheet? Yes, it requires no emotions. If it's hey, one of my parents died and I'm real sad about it, I'll be like, fuck, here's a picture of a turtle. I hope that solves it.
I follow now. I see where you're coming from.
When you messaged me and you're like, one of my friends died, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I want to help. I'm sorry. Is that what I should say? I don't know. I'm not very good at emotions.
I am definitely that person who, in certain circumstances, I certainly do have that. Is what can I do? Right? But as long as there's a concrete evidence of I know what I can do, then anyway, guys, this went completely off the deep end right out of the gate. Hi, if this is your first time tuning in, we love you.
That's exactly what we should do.
Yeah, but that's really, I think that's all the therapy I needed to get out right now. There's not anything specific happening right now that's especially sticking a thorn in my side. There's still, of course, just that constant background microwave radiation of awfulness and terrible, and everything is really, really bad. But that's all it is right now. I'm doing pretty all right I don't have any acute stabbing pains right now.
I'm feeling a little blue, or I am a little blue.
You're very pale, actually. You're not blue at all.
I was tie-dyeing. My hand's blue.
Oh, your hand is blue.
My hand is blue. That's not going to come off for a couple days. I'm fine. I was tie-dyeing instead of actual dyeing. It's a much better version. Although we're all dying a little bit.
Remind me when we're done here that I have a joke about tie-dyeing that I'm not going to say on the podcast.
Ooh, those are my favorite. My favorite ones are when we tell the audience that they're not allowed to hear something that you're very excited to tell me. Those are always the best things.
Aren't they?
Yeah, they're the really, we're going to cut that part out, and here's us telling you that we're cutting a part out.
This is the line where I tell you that sometimes I do have thoughts that not even I am willing to say out loud into a microphone, because you have those thoughts where you know immediately that was a bad thought to have, and you should definitely keep it to yourself or to a very limited circle of people. We all have those moments. Some of us, unfortunately, don't have the ability to stop and not say it, I'm actually honestly glad that I was able. That's another thing you can learn through therapeutic things, guys, is how to maybe just slow down a little bit and think about what you're saying before you actually say it out loud and how it might affect other people.
I wish I could do that. That sounds real nice. I don't know what I'm saying until I've said it. And even then, I take a second to process it while everybody else is processing it.
Whoa, did that just come out of my mouth?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that should not have been said. That would have been said by a terrible person. Oh, no, I'm the one who said it.
Yep.
Like that whole situation where I'm like, oh, that was funny, but awful. Thank God I didn't say it. What do you mean that was my voice I was hearing? I would never, but then I do.
The only other thing I want to share for the therapy portion of the show, more because it's just a little thing that's very, very human in real life and natural, but also very embarrassing, but also kind of funny once you detach from it, is I pooped my pants a little bit at work last night and had to have an emergency trip home. And now I'm not ever leaving the house without a bag of clean clothes with me, because what a mortifying experience. Thankfully, there was nobody in the vehicle with me when it happened. I was able to just go straight home and get. But if you ever, guys, it's okay if you're 44 and you poop your pants a little bit because your belly's not feeling good. Don't be ashamed. Just go home, get you cleaned up. It's fine. That got real weird.
I don't know if I ever would have told anybody that, but wow, you're so brave. You're telling everybody, hey, it's okay to be human. Wow, so brave.
I know, right?
You should go on a book tour. Write a book.
Well, it's not even that. To me, the important part is that we acknowledge it and admit, because that's when it becomes funny. It's just like, oh man, I had to go to the bathroom real bad and I didn't quite make it in time. We've all had that experience. Maybe some of us a little bit more frequently than others because we got diabetes and we take medications that makes our digestion kind of a mess. But damn it, we're all people. And sometimes we poop our pants.
I don't know anybody who has gone their entire life without pooping their pants, because we have all been babies.
Well, I don't know.
So
frankly, I don't even know anybody who's gone their entire post 18 years old adult life without pooping their pants maybe a little bit. Michelle's digging deep into her brain.
I very rarely wear pants.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Anyway, hi.
You've been fortunate. You've been fortunate enough for your entire adult life to never be too far away from a bathroom, Michelle.
I think maybe.
Is that train at your house?
Yeah. Do you hear it?
I do. I can hear the train through your microphone. That's wild.
That is
that's one of ours.
That this conversation is becoming.
Yeah. I actually the place where I started working is not too far from your house, over there at the BNSF depot in Dilworth. But anyway,
you're gonna say the BNSF dildo, and that would be funny.
That's definitely. Speaking of dildos, I had this experience recently, and I made a Facebook post about it. You might have seen it already.
Okay.
But one time about a year ago, I went in to a thrift store, like a Dakota Boys Ranch, like fundraiser type thrift store, not some fancy schmancy secondhand rich people bullshit. But I went in there and I found this thing that was like, do you know what an egg cup is, Michelle? It's just like a little cup that you put an egg in.
You actually put an egg,
yeah. So it was like a sculpture of an egg cup. So it was like an egg in the cup, and it was like a terracotta, but when it was sitting, how it was sitting on the shelf, it very much resembled a large butt plug. And now I can't go into any thrift store anywhere here in Fargo without inevitably noticing several different items that vaguely or sometimes very closely resemble and remind me of a butt plug. And I don't know what's going on, but it's starting to scare me. I see butt plugs everywhere, Michelle.
My philosophy is that anything can be a butt plug if you're patient enough.
If you're brave enough.
And have some time. Yeah. Well, because I've heard the thing like anything can be a dildo or something, but like
Yeah.
I feel like there's a couple more components involved in making something a butt plug. Something it's way easier for something to become a dildo than it is to become a butt plug.
Dimitri Martin, the comedian, had a bit, and I don't know the exact wording, but it's a play on that whole thing about how like the secret to success in the restaurant business is location. He's like, any toy can be an adult toy. Location, location, location. He's singing a little song. Yeah. Anyway, so butt plugs and poop in your pants. That's what we talk about on We Watch Shudder. I don't know why I felt it necessary to share those two stories with everybody, but
They're great. That's what we do.
Do you have any fun stories you want to share, Michelle? Any therapy you need to do?
I did have a therapy thing, but I've forgotten it, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Well, what happened is I told that story about poop in my pants and then that story about the butt plugs, and you were like, you know what? My problems aren't so bad.
Probably. Mine's like, I gotta be on an assignment, and I'm really depressed because of who I am as a person. No, I've just, the last 5 days, I have engaged in a lot of escapism and put a lot of time into Death Stranding 2.
I was just, yes. How is Death Stranding 2 going?
So far, I like Death Stranding 1 a considerable amount more, but Death Stranding 2 seems like it's going to be a way bigger map, and they've added some new things that I really like, and I was like, oh, that could have been cool if that was in the first one, but I don't know if it's an improvement outside of adding a couple components I like. The first one just drew me in so much. I'm hoping that I'm still fairly early in the story, because I, of course, have to go do every side quest imaginable on these kinds of things, and the whole thing is delivering packages and constant side quests and like building all the roads and that kind of thing. So I guess I haven't gotten as far into the story, and I'm hoping it does start drawing me in. Part of the issue is that it is now about a toddler instead of a tiny little baby like the first one. Baby, not a baby. They are slightly different in that one you don't feel bad killing. That is the difference in the first Death Stranding. It's dark. But instead it's now a toddler, and that's a disappointment because toddlers suck in comparison to babies.
Here's a question that I do need, two questions that I want to ask as long as we're on Death Stranding. And guys, seriously, if this is your first time tuning in, we are going to talk about Falling Stars. That discussion is coming. So two things I want to ask. First of all, I have noticed that a lot of the things I've seen going around the interwebs with people talking about, oh shit, Death Stranding 2 is here and it's awesome and all this stuff. All of the promotional footage I've seen of it is what appears to be cutscene stuff. I haven't seen any footage of the gameplay elements at all. Can you, I know you said it's about delivering packages. Is this a game where you, fight bad guys? Tell me what the gameplay here is, because literally all I've seen is the cutscenes, and I'm just like, what is this just a fucking movie, or what?
So it is beautiful cutscenes. The story
sure.
is incredible. The first one, lots of Buddhist beliefs in it, and it's fantastic. But the actual gameplay is that you go to different buildings. You never meet the people in the buildings. You only see their holograms, and they're like, oh, hey, my delivery's here. Please connect me to the chiral network. And then you get connected to the network, and that means that other people online, the structures they have built, can now be used by you. So you can go out and you're like, oh, cool, there's now a generator, there's a bridge. So there's a lot of interconnectivity with other players, which is really cool. Other porters out delivering packages, that's a huge component of it. But the gameplay...
The other porters, are those, is this an online thing where there are other real people, or are they NPCs?
There's both. There are other online people sometimes, but they're never, you will never see a person in the game who is currently another person playing the exact same game as you, but you will interact with other people who have left objects because they're like, I don't need this, I'm donating it, and it's in a locker for anybody. It's more of that, and it's a really cool aspect. They removed a lot of the stuff where other people can break your game by, clogging interstate with, 20 cars. And then you're like, oh, cool, because everybody else can share this. They've ruined my experience. So they got rid of a lot of that. I'm very happy to learn their lesson.
I was going to say, gosh, I can't imagine why somebody... there's always going to be that guy, isn't there? That guy who just says... the best, most fun thing I could do right now is whatever I can think of to ruin this experience for everybody else. And that's so dumb. But okay, so if I'm understanding correctly, it's not like a fight baddies and bosses situation.
There's
It's
also that.
Oh,
Yeah.
is there?
The boss battles are insane, but it's just not like a lot of combat. For the most part, it is exploring this world and just making sure that you on foot are bringing your packages where they need to go. And eventually you can start building roads, and then you get vehicles and you find faster ways to travel. But it is like walking to a new area, seeing what's there, traversing it, putting up ladders so you can climb up something, climbing ropes so you can get down on the other side, building a bridge across a river.
Almost like, in a way, not so much like immediate puzzle solving, but very much like, okay, this is the environment we're in. We need to complete this task. What other tasks do we need to complete to be able to enable completing this task?
Yeah, and I think that's why I like it, because it is like, you'll see something and it's like 800 meters away. You don't know what you're going to encounter on your way there, so you have to be prepared for, are there going to be cliffs that you have to scale up? Are there going to be big dips that you have to scale down? Will there be enemies and you should pack some weapons on your way? It's that component that I really like. It's the unknown of like, what am I going to encounter out there, and am I going to encounter some new things? There's a new enemy in Death Stranding 2 that's really fucking scary, and I love that. There's some good horror elements. Like, it's not a horror game, but some of the stuff that happens is very horrific, and I am very excited for the movie that we will get someday.
The other quick question I had, as long as we have you here talking about Death Stranding 2, I have noticed a certain amount of scuttlebutt about, apparently there is an option in the game where when you get to one of these really tough encounters or whatever, or there's an option to pretend you achieved victory and just move on past it. Am I understanding that correctly?
Not like the boss battle, but there are things that you can just sneak past. You don't have to battle things.
Let's see here. Maybe I'm thinking of a completely different game.
Or just misinterpreting, because there are things where, like, you get a detection of there's an enemy this way, and so you're like, cool, I don't want to fight that, and so you just sneak past it, and then you go on your way. You could spend, outside of the story-related bosses, you could play the entire game without killing anything.
Yeah,
unless it was a story boss.
So here's, let's see, after, as noted above, the pretend you won option appears after players have lost to a boss in Death Stranding 2. After selecting this, the game will inform you that selecting the option will imagine that the battle has been fought and move on with the story. It also notes that the battle may... Yeah, it also notes that the battle may not be completely over if you select the option. I'm just wondering, so are you just now learning about this?
Yeah, because I haven't lost to a boss. And so
I was just going to say, that was my follow-up question, is have you just not lost to a boss yet? You so-and-so?
Because I upgrade everything. I don't do like the story until there's nothing else left for me. This is such a Kojima thing. Kojima is very well known for being very funny and meta. And like in the first one, there's a lot of stuff where like when you give somebody a thumbs up in the game, they get a like. And so that's like, it's like a social media in real life, like funny thing. And he'll like do it at the camera, and like your character will go into the shower and he looks at the camera and is like, and like hides himself. Like it's this interactivity that he's really well known for. A lot of Metal Gear Solid, is that the one I'm thinking of with Snake? I'm trying to think if that's the big Solid, army dudes. Okay, I can't remember Gear something. But anyway, Metal Gear Solid has a lot of that, like just silly stuff, and so I'm not surprised that they're like, yeah, it's really hard. You just want to pretend you won? Like, that's such a Kojima thing. I love that. No, I have not lost. Although I think next time I encounter a boss, I'm just going to lose because I'm curious now.
Yeah, I was just curious what your take on that was, like, from because again, there is gameplay here. But this is also one, man, people were not expecting 15 minutes on Death Stranding 2, but they're getting it.
I'm obsessed.
It's obviously a big part of Kojima's games, and I don't play them. I'm not super familiar with them, but I know him and his reputation enough to know that like the story is primary. I mean, the gameplay is a big deal as well, but there's so much about telling the story here. And so I was just like, oh, I imagine there are some people who are just like, I would rather not have to struggle through all these fights. Let's just see what the story is.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not all about the combat. Sometimes the enemies are purely, how am I going to sneak past them because I cannot get in a fight right now. I'm carrying something that will get damaged, and I cannot do that because there's like a bomb in my bag. And like, I can't encounter an enemy right now, but I have to get to this place and there's enemies here. How am I going to sneak past them without ever engaging in a fight? It's all about the strategy. And that is why I love it. It's a lot of problem solving, and I like problems and solving them.
Sure. All right, so that's what I wanted to ask about Death Stranding 2. We're now pushing what? Are we close to 20 minutes
21.
into the episode yet? Oh,
21.
right. So Falling Stars is the movie we came to talk about. Michelle, we selected this movie. You selected this movie. I had never even heard of it. I knew nothing about it going in. I did not know what to expect. Tell me how, because you had already seen this once before, yeah?
Yeah, I had.
So tell me, like, what you know about it, how it came into your, I know it played, was it at Fantastic Fest last year?
It was actually at a bunch
Maybe
of festivals.
2 years ago?
I think the one that I heard about was, I don't know how to pronounce it, but Telluride, something like that. There's
Telluride, that's exactly right. Yep,
yeah,
Telluride.
There's a Colorado festival, and this played alongside some of the other bigger showings there, like Late Night with the Devil, and Suitable Flesh, and like just a bunch of other ones that I've seen. And Falling Stars was on that list, and so when it became available on Canopy, which I have a Canopy account for free, so I was like, oh, cool. Anything on Canopy gets like boosted to the top of my list because it's usually something really weird or a documentary. And so I had to check it out. And then when we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do an episode about, I was like, well, let me go see if I've watched anything interesting lately. And I said, how about this one about witches? It's either that or Blood and Honey 2. And you immediately went, Falling Stars it is.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely not going to watch no frickin' Winnie the Pooh thing unless, like, I don't know, if it came down to watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, or Let Michelle Die, I would probably watch it then.
Oh, I would probably choose the other option.
You would let me die rather than watching a movie you didn't want to watch?
Oh, no, I'd let myself die.
Oh, okay. Well, that's because you've already seen it. It's an irrelevant question for you.
Well, if it was the first one, I might.
But
the second one, I'd watch again.
Oh, well, and it wasn't even, I mean, Blood and Honey 2 is obviously a big part of why I said Falling Stars, but also, you know very, very well that you said two of the most tantalizing words you can say to me when talking about this stuff is witch movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right.
Meaning W-I-T-C-H, not W-H-I-C-H.
Yes, a witch movie. You know, like a vampire movie or a zombie movie. This is a witch movie.
Yeah.
And I love me some witch movies because they exist within that folk horror kind of realm as well. This is, I will tell you right off the bat, not the witch movie I was expecting, and I'm going to have some things to say about it.
Which movie were you expecting? Ha ha ha. No, we'll talk about it.
Which is which? Let's do a descripty script. I'm going to do this one for you, Michelle. Falling, let's see. Here we go. From IMDb, because this is not on Shudder, and it doesn't have a Wikipedia page or any of that stuff. And this one is really sweet and simple. On the first night of harvest, 3 brothers set out for the desert to see a witch's corpse. Falling Stars, 2023. 1 hour, 20 minutes. Not rated. Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who had already seen this once before and saw it again, spoiler-free thoughts on Falling Stars. I don't know why I get so dramatic about that whole thing. Maybe it's just
and so people
the
aren't
radio.
going to expect it. Gotta build it.
No, well, it's the radio puker in me is really what it is. But Falling Stars, spoiler-free thoughts. What do you got?
Yeah. So this movie is very unique in that I think it would have made a very good book. There is a lot of exposition and discussions and world building, and I would have enjoyed a lot more action, but yet I like listening to the monologues, and it's so rare that I see a movie and I go, this should have been written text instead, and I would have enjoyed it, or like reading the script. I do enjoy this. I just, I think it's very interesting that its selling point is like not the action or visuals or anything that makes a movie like the thing that you want to see. Like, you want to see this movie for this reason. Instead, it's a lot of monologues and character development, or not development, but learning about these characters, this world. I enjoy when a movie creates its own reality and you just accept that this is how things are in this universe, and now we're going to continue our lives as though all of this is fact, and it's just completely normal that there are falling stars, which are actually witches, and that everybody's just like, oh no, gotta make sure you avoid getting taken by a witch. I love the concept. I've heard that the creators might do another one in the future that does build upon this concept, and I would be very interested in that, because I think that they really created a cool environment and world, and I want more of it. But even if that comes in the form of a book, I'm fine with that. I am going to go with a 3.16.
3.16 stars from Michelle. John 316 stars for Falling Stars. John 316 skulls. Excuse me. For Falling Stars. All right. Well, have a good night, guys.
You did not stop talking long enough for me to ask you a very important question. JD.
Yeah.
That's the question. Just JD, it had a question mark. That counts. Would you like to hit us with your spoiler-free thoughts?
Nope, this episode is done. Let's go home.
Okay, we have talked quite a bit, and I can go play Death Stranding. No. I was so tempted to play it while we recorded, but I'm not doing that. So you're welcome.
All right. That's fair. My spoiler-free thoughts are once again very similar to yours. There are things about this movie that I really, really like. I like how mellow it is. First of all, it's described everywhere I look as a drama horror. This is not a horror film. Just because it involves witches and some potentially tense things, it's not a horror film. It's not a thriller. This is a dramatic film that happens to involve witches and some witchy stuff. But I really enjoyed those elements. I thought the way this thing was structured, or what they were doing with it, focusing on the brothers and their situation. I liked the world building. It reminded me in certain ways, not in the details, but in certain ways about like When Evil Lurks, where they just kind of put you in the world and you learn about what's going on just by listening to this. There's no moment really where they just sit and talk about the plot directly, right? It's all in context with what's going on, and you figure it out as you're going. Those monologue moments that you talk about, I think they're well written. I think they're well performed. I think they, for me anyway, got in the way of the little bit of momentum that this film did have. It's already kind of a slow-rolling film, right? It's moody, and it's not real action-packed and intense go, go, go. And I'm thinking specifically of the one with the mom. I started to notice, I'm just like, oh, this is the moment where this lady comes in and gives her 5-minute, fishing for an award nomination speech. I think ultimately what I came down on is it just very much feels like what it is. And this isn't a bad thing. It very much feels like a first-time feature. I think it's good enough that I definitely want to see more of what these folks do. It just didn't quite get there for me. It had a couple of missteps, but overall, I really, really enjoyed this, and I went with 3.5 stars.
Yay! 3.5 skulls, not stars.
Skulls.
And 3.16
Three and a.
skulls.
Don't tell me 3.5 and 3.16 is. By the way, if you add that up, it's 6.66.
Yes, it is.
Wow, I didn't even. Wow. But that's 3.33 average.
That would be half of 6.66, so it makes sense.
Yep. 666. The
Bye,
fallen
everybody.
stars of the beast. All
Have
right.
a good day.
Yeah, so the movie is only available right now for rental or on, what did you say that service was? Canopy?
Canopy as well as Hoopla, which is the free streaming service with the library card. So there's a couple spots.
Well, I don't have a library card because I took out a copy of Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion like 17 years ago and lost it, and they still haven't forgotten.
Wow. Are they elephants? Because elephants also never forget.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But,
No.
yeah, so
Spoiler
we are going to
section?
get into spoilers. Yeah, if you don't want spoilers, you want to see the movie first. If you like witchy stuff that's also kind of moody, this is one that I think you should go check out. But, Michelle, you want to then go ahead and summarize this plot for these good people?
Absolutely. Also would like to point out that I am also witchy and moody. So if you like witchy moody things, it's me. It's
Witchin'
me.
and bitchin'. Woohoo!
Wow. I do want a t-shirt that says that, but I will never wear it because I'm very scared that if I ever wear a shirt with a swear word on it, that some like mom's gonna come yell at me. So that's why I don't wear any of my best t-shirts out in public. I'm very afraid of like middle-aged women yelling at me. Oh my God, I'm a middle-aged woman. Oh no, the adults are my age now.
That's so funny to me because in the 90s, George Carlin had a bit on one of his albums about a guy on an airplane wearing a Grateful Dead t-shirt and a fuck you hat. And I was so taken by that, just that idea of a fuck you hat. Also, the phrase fuck you hat is a really good, both phonetic and rhythmic phrase. That actually, when I was in college in Minneapolis, I got a blank baseball cap and I made it say fuck you on it, and I wore it fucking everywhere.
You're a braver man than me. I'm afraid of any interaction that could be negative.
I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. That's a David Bowie song that he did with Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. Anyway, okay. ADHD distractions over. Michelle, what happens in Falling Stars? Do the stars fall?
Have you taken your medication today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
I mean,
I can tell sometimes
ago,
when you're
yeah.
unmedicated.
About an hour ago.
The stars do fall, JD, except they're women. Okay, so Falling Stars. We open with three brothers. Their names are Adam and the other two. I don't remember. They don't matter. There's three brothers, and the brothers, they're preparing for the harvest. And what that is that in this world, once a year, the witches fall from the sky. They're called falling stars. They look like falling stars, except they're witches. And then they start taking people, and you have to, like, make a sacrifice or like protect yourself to make sure that the witches ain't coming for you. So they're getting prepared, and then they realize that they don't have an ingredient, and then they talk. One of the brothers knows that a friend of his killed a witch last year and buried her, so now they're gonna go get what they need from this buried witch, which is kind of part of the story that's a little silly to me, that like, okay, this guy just he accomplished something impossible and then just didn't tell anybody except this one friend of his, and he just like kept it's all very strange to me. You cannot interrupt yet, JD, but it's a little odd. Like, why would you not tell your wife? If I killed a witch, the first person I would tell is my husband. Like, I would be so excited, but I would also be like, oh my God, I'm going to prison. So I would have to make sure that I talk to him about it so that he knows to take care of the cats while I am incarcerated. Okay, so they venture out to see the witch, and they're learning all about the lore, or we're learning about the lore as they explain it to each other. Where this is just a generational thing that they've done forever. You can't look at a witch for too long, or then you'll want to go up and become fixated with her and you'll keep driving, which is all very strange because that's just stuff that they know, even though Never mind. So they get up to the witch, and then Adam spills a beer on the witch's corpse, and you don't want to do that. Witch or not, don't go putting your beer on corpses. I don't recommend doing that. It's a little disrespectful. And then they find out that is a ritual circle. What's the word for it? Yeah, ritual circle. Okay, so then they find out, oh my God, this is holy ground. Adam just desecrated this grave. We are fucked. And so they get in the truck and they think that they can outrun the fuck, but they're wrong, because suddenly one of the guys is sitting in the back of the pickup truck and now he's gone. And that is my favorite part of the movie, is that these witches just take people and you do not see them coming or going. That is great. That's fucking terrifying. I love that. I love that a lot. They get back to where the friend's wife and baby are. There's no longer a wife and baby, just a baby, which, like, the two, you had to leave the baby, the one that might cry. Like, the wife will cry too when everybody's gone, but it won't be as, like, grating in a way that is supposed to biologically trigger you to be annoyed and want to make it stop. JD disagrees with me. He thinks that women crying are worse than babies crying. We disagree.
The baby was inside.
Yeah, the baby was.
The witches can't take you when you're inside.
But they could. They have hands. I don't believe that a witch could fall from the sky and can't figure out a fucking doorknob. Okay, that's one of the plot holes. She's like, oh no, I've been thwarted again. So they get the baby, and then they go back to the brother's house, and they just have this baby. And all of this is a little weird because the mom tells a story about a weird woman that she met once, and how that lady had a real bad time. And then she's like, I'm gonna keep this baby. I'm gonna raise the baby. I'm gonna love the baby. All very strange. And then the brother's like, yeah, but what if we sacrifice the baby to save ourselves? And the mom's like, hell no. You're gonna go back to that ritual site, and you're gonna undo this by burning the witch. And then we'll all be safe, and I can enjoy the company of this baby I'm suddenly loving. Very weird. It was all very weird behavior from that mom. She really likes being a mother. Like, that's her number one thing. Like, some people are like, oh, I love motherhood. That one was like, I fucking love motherhood. I can't wait to do it again. I'm so glad that I randomly got this orphaned baby that I can just keep now instead of, like, communicating with anybody related to its parents. Very strange behavior. That woman, oh man, hang on. I did take a sip of water because I have a theory that that woman, those three brothers, she did not give birth to. She has been stealing babies her whole life, and she's excited to have another one. She has never been pregnant. She's always wanted to be pregnant, but instead she's just been yoinking babies because she so easily is like, this is my baby now. And that's that woman. I need a story just about her. What's going on in her life? What's going on? She needs a doctor. So they go to burn the witch's corpse. And then as they're trying to do that, yoink, one brother, he got witched. Yoink number two, second brother, he got witched. Adam, he was real sad to see his brother's gone. So now he's going to do what everybody else has done before then, even though it's probably not going to work, but this is just tradition. So he lights the witch on fire, and then, the witches, they're coming. Fade to black, but then fade back in and show us the vehicle still sitting there in daylight, meaning that, yeah, they all got yoinked. All the brothers got yoinked. That mom, she's got a baby, and she loves the baby way more than she loved any of those sons. Those sons suck. She likes the baby now. The movie is called Falling Stars, but really it's falling in love with a random person's baby. Like, that baby probably has grandparents or aunts and uncles. Like, you're not going through the proper channels. It's not even necessarily orphaned yet. Like, very strange behavior. She is, like, the weirdest part of this movie. This is a movie where witches yoink you immediately and you're just gone. But the weirdest part of this movie is that fucking woman deciding that this is her baby now. Falling Stars. Hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of things here. First of all, you didn't at any point whatsoever say anything about the radio station.
Oh my god, that's because the radio station is my least favorite part of this movie, and I completely forgot about it. I have it in my notes to talk about how much I do not like the radio station.
You know, yeah. Well, yeah, and that's part of what I was talking about, where a lot of this just feels really disjointed, right? Like all of those scenes in the radio station, like, well, I guess there's only really the quick beginning and then the little bit of interaction in the third act there as they're going out to burn the witch. But that, and then again, just like out of nowhere, we have this like 3-4 minute long monologue from the mom, which I'm not saying it was a bad monologue. It's well written, it's well performed, but it just seems kind of out of tone, and it just seemed disjointed amongst everything else. So there are moments like that, at least for me, the movie just kind of, like, you hit a big rattling bump along the way and you had to reorient yourself completely. And I thought the radio station, but there's a reason. I want to get right to this before I forget it, Michelle, because I have a tendency to forget things. This is one of my, I don't even think it's a nitpick, but somebody will. I want to read a quote that I wrote down word for word from one of the scenes. So Mike calls in and is talking to the producer on the radio show, whose name I unfortunately don't remember. But they're like, yeah, we saw a witch or whatever, or we killed a witch or something. And then
I love that is the direct quote of, yeah, we saw a witch or something, we killed a witch or something. That's the direct quote from the movie.
Michelle, I'm generalizing because I don't remember the exact quote.
I know, I just think that's very funny. I'm like, yeah, we killed a witch or whatever.
But, and then like later on, she's on the phone with him again, and he says something, and she gets this look on her face. And she goes back in to talk to the radio host, and she says this to him. I wrote it down. I wrote this one down word for word. She says, "I won't forget what he said, like, ever. I'm going to be lying in bed tomorrow thinking about it. You know when you listen but you don't sit still? You're picking at the skin around your fingernails until they bleed because what you heard burrowed under the soft part of your brain where you can't let anything go." And then she never fucking says what he said that made her feel like that.
Here's my thing about that bit. I think they build it up to be a big spooky thing, and then it is so not that when he does actually talk to Mike on, like, the DJ actually talks to Mike, that it's like, lady, you're really sensitive. You're doing this as a job, like screening spooky calls. And I'm just like, that's the spooky thing, is him just being like, we're going to go burn a witch, and oh no. Like, it makes me cringe.
That's the other thing, exactly, is then we do eventually kind of figure out that what he told her is that they're going out to burn this witch's corpse, right? This dead witch's corpse. And that was I was like, wait, that was the thing? So just that bit, I don't know, maybe the idea was to make her just melodramatic. I didn't pick that up. But I was just like waiting for her to actually say what this thing was, and she just never says it.
Yeah.
And so that was...
like there are parts of this movie that they just really wanted to get some good lines in, and they did not care if it had anything to do with the script.
Yeah, and that's why I say it definitely feels like a first-time feature here. This is, but again, not in a bad way. All the individual parts are good. They just, for me, felt a little clunky together. But a couple of things that I want to talk about. First of all, you talked about the people and their disappearances. Love that effect. I love that this is a movie where you don't, it's not that you never see anything, but you see one thing, one time. Like, their entire special effects budget for the most is that witch corpse, right? And it's at least from it looks to me like a process for making, desiccated corpse like that I've seen online that you can do very easily at home. But when you take it out in the dark like that and put the right lighting, I thought that corpse looked fantastic. I love the way that they incorporate the whole, actually they are on brooms. Why? We don't know, but they are in this world. They fly brooms, right? You know, they talk about it a little bit, what some of their ideas might be, but I loved that and the disappear, like when the baby's mom is holding that jug of water and she steps through the door out to the outside and the jug of water crashes to the ground and she is never seen again. I had to rewind it and watch it again just to make sure I had seen what I thought I saw. Same with the guy in the back of the truck. That's so effective because that's really, like, this is a really well directed movie. They established that image early on with Adam and Sal in the back while Rob and Mike are in the cab going out to the witch's grave. And you see them back there. Now, here's the thing. Because again, I was like, wait, was he back there and he just disappeared? So I had to go back and make sure I had actually seen what I saw. And if you watch closely enough, you can tell that he just lays down in the back so you can't see him anymore. But just, yeah, that whole thing. And I thought it was perfectly done in that ending sequence because it's like the editing there is so good that it was confusing and disorienting to me, right? I was like, oh, what the, he's just, oh shit, he's gone. They got him. And then when Adam is running out there and we see Sal dumping the gas all over on the ground and there's just that one brilliant edit where all of a sudden Adam falls to the ground in front of the corpse and Sal is gone. It's so brilliant and effectively done. Really, really loved all of that.
And that is why I wanted to watch this one, because the things that I really like.
Yeah.
I really like this world, and I like that people just get yoinked. I'm going to keep using the word yoink because I think it is the funniest way for a supernatural entity to take a person, is yoinking them. But, like, these people are just gone. They're just like, this is my human now. I have taken it. Goodbye. And the way that they show that without showing that is great. If they had tried to show us the witches actually taking them, I can guarantee it would not have been as effective as these shots where things are just falling because they're no longer being held by a person because the person's not there, or Adam diving and the person's just gone. Like, that was way more effective than actually showing me any of that, because part of the movie is that nobody sees the witches. So we are also experiencing this as the rest of the world does, where you don't see witches, you just know they're out there, and you see stars falling, and you know you need to get the fuck inside. All of that, like, I think it's good when there's a movie that I don't like as a whole, but I want way more of it because I could enjoy it. And that is this one. I love the isolation. This is a really good isolation from a rural area. I come from a very small town in Minnesota, and so anytime I see a movie that reminds me of my hometown, trashy as my life was growing up, it makes me yearn for the good old country days.
And another thing I like about it that you talking about the isolation made me think of is there's not a lot of panicking in this, and their reactions are intense, but they're not histrionic. And why I love that is because it reinforces the idea of this is a part of their everyday life for as far as everyone can remember. So yeah, they're not going to have that what the fuck is going on intense histrionic panic, right? Like, you can tell they're fucking scared, right? But they're not losing their minds. They're still able to maintain at least a reasonable amount of rationality, and I liked that element because as much as it's tense and it's about, potentially, fucking things up and sacrifices and losing family and all these things, it is a somewhat quiet movie. And I really appreciated that. This movie is what I would describe as one of those blues songs where, as they famously say, it's more about the notes you don't play. And from a directing standpoint, I really appreciated that.
One of the reasons, let me try that again. Another of the reasons that I wanted to watch this one is because I had some things to say about stuff I found online afterwards, and I was like, ooh, it's a witchy movie. Jake likes witchy movies, and then I can have an excuse to dig into this thing.
Okay.
So,
Before
yes.
we do that, can I hit two more just very small things I wanted to mention, and then we'll just let you cut loose?
As long as they're small and not medium or large.
Right. Well, the biggest
one
one is I just wanted to mention.
Sarcasm. Go for it.
You talked about, Rob killed a witch, but it seems like Mike is the only one he told. I very much got the impression that was the kind of thing where if word got out that Rob had killed a witch, everybody would have been after him with pitchforks because they'd be terrified of what the witches were going to do for revenge.
He didn't tell his wife. They didn't have a very good marriage.
Well,
I'm
did
upset
you see
for the wife. No, I know. Good point. They did not have a very good marriage. Never mind.
Right, which is exactly why he would have not told her.
Yeah, maybe he shouldn't put his bros before his hoes. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know it like makes sense, but it does feel very awkward. Where I'm like, you don't have any other friends? This guy doesn't seem like...
Well, and
it's one of those, like, he's your best friend, but you're not his best friend situations.
Right, yeah. To me, like I said, that was one of those little elements that I thought really reinforced the world they were in. The other thing, and I imagine we were probably coming to it, but one of the things I love the very, very most about this is how it's very, very clear that Adam is trans and they never fucking mention it. Never once. Adam is their brother. Adam is always just Adam. Even the other people, Rob, their friends, Adam is just Adam. And it's like I said, it's pretty clear, but it's just never mentioned at all. And I fucking love that.
I also had to look into that. The person who plays that, Renee Leach, seems to be cisgender woman who goes by she, her. And so when I was like, were you actually playing a trans character? Were you? And I thought that was like interesting that like it doesn't matter.
Right. Well, and also I don't, I know cisgender definitely, but I on her website, I don't know that maybe like she maybe LGBTQ some way. I don't know for sure. But she seems to specifically have, in fact, on her resume, she mentions specifically having an interest in portraying LGBTQ characters. And
cool.
So, yeah, I don't know if she comes into that from personal experience or if it's just, she said, even though that's not me, I want to, have an opportunity to try and do that. But no, I loved that so much. Because that's the real dream future, right? Where they just exist. Trans folks just get to exist. And nothing about their situation is questioned at all. And they are evaluated about nothing except, what kind of a person are you? I thought that character was beautiful and so well done.
Yeah. The reason I dug into that a little bit is because of this thing that I'm about to tell you about. So after watching this, I was like, was there a deeper symbolism here? And if a movie is something that I enjoy, I like to go see what other people have had to say about it. I like to go read Reddit threads about it, some of that Roger and Ebert, like the IMDb reviews. I like checking stuff out. And then I found an article that absolutely convinced me that there was a very good, deep meaning. And what's going to happen is I'm going to read this to you. It's going to sound perfect, but then I'm going to read an interview from the writer and directors, and it's bullshit. This person just found a deeper meaning that was there that is apparently not intentional but fits perfectly. And I am just always fascinated when those kind of things happen. A great example of it is Room 237, a documentary from 2012, which is analyzing Stanley Kubrick's Shining. And all of the hidden messages, and everybody is 100% convinced that they have figured out what everything means. And yet they can't all be right. And I just think that's very interesting, how you can take something, come up with a meaning, say this is 100% because it fits, and this is definitely what it was about, and then it's absolutely not because I found an interview. So here is C.H. Newell from FatherSonHolyGore.com. I found this and then I 100% thought this was real. It's not, but it fits. Despite the sense that Adam begins questioning his family / community's tradition of burning witches, he still tries to burn the dead witch, and the ending suggests that he too has suffered the consequences like his brothers. The ending mostly shows how that the generational cycle of misogyny and witch hatred in the brothers' family was not broken, nor will it disappear in their community at large, nor the world either. Falling Stars portrays a world in crisis, but not a world under siege for no reason. The film follows Mike and his family's struggle while simultaneously making it fairly clear that the struggle is linked to horrible traditions and the consequences those traditions have created. Their story is a sad tale of the connection between how we treat women and how we treat the natural world. Falling Stars exposes a patriarchal view of life that expects women, like the earth itself, to take so much of humanity's abuse without ever fighting back, as the witch-nature connection ties all of women and Mother Nature's revenge together in a haunting package.
Okay, so I guess my response to that is no, you know what? I'm not even going to say anything. Move on to the rest of what you were going to say.
Yes.
I have some small issues with that, but I want to see if maybe these folks already addressed it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's completely not, that's my whole point, is that is not what this is about. Because I read that and it was so thorough that I went, wow, I completely missed the meaning of this movie. There was a lot of symbolism about misogyny. Okay. What? I had no idea. No, right. I found interviews with the writer and director.
Yeah, in that sense, can you read like the last 2 or 3 sentences of that for me one more time? I want to make sure I heard specifically what you said.
Yes, I think this is the part where it goes off for me. Their story is a sad tale of the connection between how we treat women and how we treat the natural world. Falling Stars exposes a patriarchal view of life that expects women, like the earth itself, to take so much of humanity's abuse without ever fighting back, as the witch-nature connection ties all of women and Mother Nature's revenge together in a haunting package.
That's the part. Mm-hmm. When at any point whatsoever is suggested, like, I get, there's that whole thing where it's like, oh, we don't burn witches anymore or whatever, this is not a thing we do anymore. But, like, the impression I got from all of this is that the witches were the aggressors. And maybe I just missed something somewhere along the line, but that's definitely the impression I got, is that the witches were the aggressors.
And that's what I got too, but I read this and I went, holy shit, that makes sense. Because this is also the last paragraph of an entire article they wrote.
Sure.
The whole thing is very well written, and I don't think like their interpretation is bullshit or anything like that. Like, it's a very good interpretation, but then I did find like that's not true. I thought I missed a message that was apparent to everybody else. But then when I found the creators' interview, this was a Screen Anarchy one that they did. Richard Karpala was the writer and then co-directed it with Gabriel Zinzinski. I'm not going to try. I'm so sorry. Gabriel. And so they were asked about the meaning of the movie. And this is a little bit long, but I want to read it because I think it's just interesting in and of itself what they actually put behind it. First off, Richard has said that this is just a dream he had, and then they decided to put together a movie about it, and that they were kind of piecing it together as they went along, which I think is a little apparent, but that is also why I'm like, I've actually read quite a few interviews because I was just drawn into the discussion about this movie. And they had some other ideas for way crazier stuff that they don't have the budget for, and I just want to give them $1 million and let them see what they do. So when asked what this movie was about, according to Screenarchy interview, Gabriel said, "The narrative naturally evokes various societal commentaries. Given America's history with events like the witch burnings and prevailing superstitions, questions inevitably arise. Are we commenting on current events, the divides between urban and rural dwellers, or the political polarities of Republican versus Democratic? While we didn't begin with such specific intentions, these themes emerged organically. What's intriguing, especially by the film's end in the conversation with radio DJ Barry Foyle, is how the meticulously crafted crafted world begins to show fractures, hinting at internal discrepancies and debates about its very nature. In today's times, there seems to be a lack of agreement on pressing issues like our planet's deteriorating condition. Despite these evident problems, consensus eludes us. While our film didn't initially aim to touch on these subjects, discussions surrounding it have highlighted these concerns. Many viewers sense a subtle undercurrent in the narrative. This lack of unanimity, in a way, adds a layer of realism to the story. And then Richard added, the film carries a political undertone, embodying a spirit of rebellion, even bordering on anarchy. We could have invested our resources, time, and money into other pursuits, but filmmaking is our passion. The story absorbs all these external influences. I'm not inclined to make definitive statements. I prefer a certain ambiguity, mirroring the complexities of the real world.
Okay. Yeah, and that's definitely the impression I got ultimately, was that the idea was we're supposed to learn about what's happening in this world, but we're not necessarily supposed to know everything, right? We're supposed to see that it's very much disputed what's happening here and that sort of thing. Now, like I said, I still definitely got the impression that the witches were aggressors. I guess there might be some things in there that I missed, and that makes me kind of want to go back and watch it again. But I do. Anyway, yeah, I think that is ultimately the impression I got from it.
My first watch, I kind of agreed with you. My second one, just knowing what I knew, does make me feel like these aren't just witches invading and taking people, but like the humans have wronged them for some reason, and that this is fighting back and making them pay for stuff. There's just very little hints of why I think that upon the second watch. And I can't even fully pinpoint it. It just felt like there's a lot more of that discussion of like, yeah, we've just always burned them, and the nonchalance about it that makes me feel like, did they just pick a war with the witches, kind of like what happened at the Salem witch trial of like, we just got to start burning people because we don't like what they do. If Salem witch trials burned actual witches instead of, just burning fucking women. Anyway, I'm very mad about the Salem witch trials these days, and I don't even know why. Be. I'm just, I don't know. I've been thinking about witches a lot, and they've been wronged. I bought some more tarot. I'm in a mood. Okay, so, but yes, I think it is just interesting. And I thought C.H. Newell, 100% convinced me. But, I love that you can draw a conclusion from something that is completely not there, but that it makes sense. And I want an excuse to talk about Room 237 because it's one of my favorite documentaries, because everybody thinks they have perfectly nailed it. Their explanations 100% make sense, but contradict each other in the documentary. And I just really like that you can find something and interpret art how you want to, and how it's how you want to believe it.
Now, there is something that came up in there between those two articles. I believe it's something that was mentioned in the first one. That kind of brings me to the last thing that I do want to discuss, and that's the end of the movie. We see in there, they do mention the ideas of oh, you're just some small town guy out in the, I believe Foyle actually says from out in the boonies, and how we don't burn witches anymore and that whole thing, and the conflict with Adam, and that. But here's the thing, when you were just, I don't know 100% for sure if Adam burned the witch or Adam burned themselves. Because, and I may be grabbing at something here, but the way it's shot, look, they showed us the witch's corpse in the first 20 minutes of the movie, right? You never actually see the corpse on fire. You see Adam standing there and flames kind of around them. And then Adam looks to the sky, and we see this whole shower of falling stars coming, right? Just countless falling stars. And it fades to black. And then we fade up. We never actually see Adam get yoinked like we do everybody else. All we do is we fade up on the truck at dawn, doors open, and it rises up. And with the number of falling stars that we were seeing, shit should be going crazy, right? But it's just peaceful and calm, and we never see Adam again, but we also never go back to the place where the fire was. And so I find myself wondering, did Adam burn the witch's corpse and save things that way, or did Adam sacrifice himself to bring it to an end that way?
Number one, love that while you were giving a very interesting, serious breakdown of this ending, you did use the phrase Adam got yoinked, and I love that has now infiltrated. Like, you're just like...
It's the perfect description of what's going on.
Adam does not get yoinked. Like, it's great. I love that yoinked is the thing. But
that's the
secondly,
whole thing for me
holy shit, I love that concept.
Right. Yeah, because it's all, to me, like... Movies are all about creating images, right? And that's the thing to me, is they showed us the witch in the opening. We never actually see it. We never see it on fire. If they wanted us to know for sure or believe for sure that that's what happened, they would have not even necessarily shown us the actual corpse prop burning, but at least shown us a shot from removed of Adam standing there with something on the ground on fire. But all we ever see is Adam with the light of flames coming around him. And yeah, so just the way visually that they presented all of that in the context of everything we had already seen, I definitely got the impression of, I think it was deliberately ambiguous. Like, I'm not saying they're saying, and I think that plays into like what he's talking about. The fellow who directed the movie, and how it's these natural ideas of ambiguity and such come along. You know, it's like, so did she ultimately respect the witches by not burning their corpse and sacrificing herself since her brothers are gone? Since her brothers are gone? Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying she.
I'm sorry, did I say she?
Both times. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Thank you for
Yes.
No, yeah, thank you for correcting me. But yeah, just that whole situation. I think that was deliberate. The idea of, like, we don't know what Adam did to stop those things. You know, we don't know for sure.
I do really like that interpretation, and I bet Richard and Gabriel would be thrilled to hear, because I doubt that that's fully what they had in mind, because like they said, it's supposed to be ambiguous, and I bet they're going to listen to that and be like, oh shit, you guys, these people understand us, because they're definitely going to listen to this.
I was going to say, they're definitely going to tune in.
Every time I say that, then they actually do, because luckily horror and horror adjacent films have small communities of people where they sometimes do listen to your stuff. And you know what? They only do it when I didn't love their movie, especially they do it when I did not like their movie at all. And they're like, I'm a small film person. Thank you for being critical of my film. I don't mind, because art it's up for interpretation. It's okay that you didn't like it. And then I feel like a dick. So this one I didn't give a perfect score, but let's say anybody involved in the film does listen to this, 5 skulls. You personally,
Michelle,
5 skulls. You're a 5 skull person.
I think we have been very open about the fact that, we're being honest about the things that didn't work for us, but also making it very clear that for the most part, this movie works. It's really solid. Like I said earlier, all of the parts are good. I just didn't feel like some of them fit together really well. And from what they were saying in that interview about how it very much grew and developed organically while it was in production, that kind of makes sense in that way. And very, very interested in seeing what these folks do going forward, for sure.
Also, I would love to see what the witches are up to when they're not yoinking people. I never actually want to see that movie. I have a feeling I would not like that movie,
right.
Being like
the
witches just chilling at home on their off season. But I do think it would be very funny, like catching them like hanging out and cross-stitching together while watching Love is Blind and gossiping while drinking wine. Like, that's what I imagine. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is that in this universe, the witches are living my ideal life, which is just chilling out with your friends, then going to Earth, fucking shit up, and then flying back to the stars where you live, and then just being like, yeah, we really showed those humans a what for. Fuck them all.
Now that's another interesting. This is how our conversations are awesome, because we will just inspire thoughts with it. Do they come from space? I got the impression that they originated on Earth and they just stay in the sky because they can, to terrorize people.
Well, they have to. You see them; they look like they're falling from the sky. I think it would be a lot of work to just go orbit around the Earth until it's time to scare some humans. Like, they could live. Like, where are they gonna live? Where are they gonna do their laundry if they're just living in the atmosphere? They have to be someplace else, like on the moon. I bet the moon is where the witches live. I bet they're on the dark side of the moon.
I was gonna say they're witches, you know.
Yeah, but like, I just think it would be very boring if you just like lived in the sky to like scare people. Like, I feel like if I'm not there for harvesting, I got shit to do. I got movies I want to see, books I need to read. As a witch, I do not have free time to just hang out in the sky and be spooky. Like, no shit. I am a businesswoman, a business witch, if you will. I got shit to do. I got money to be making by betting on the stock market. Listen, witches probably make a fuck ton of money on the stock market. I bet they have like a secret way to like manipulate the numbers. So they are just out there. You know what? I bet the true billionaires are witches, and we just don't know about them because they're out there living on the fucking moon.
Witches on the moon, witches on. I don't know why that's a song all of a sudden, but
that's great. I've gone on one of my tangents, so you know that I've run out of things to say, and now I'm just thinking about my own world.
I would just immediately point out, Michelle, that if you're that caught up in the witches and who they are and what they do, you missed the point of this movie, man.
Well, this movie is all about ambiguity, and I feel like it's pretty ambiguous what happens to the witches.
And, you know, I've actually been thinking, because I'm typically a person, you know, and we've talked about this a bunch of times, I'm typically a person who doesn't like when a big mythology or something is built up and not paid off. I'm not typically a big fan of ambiguity. I think why I'm able to appreciate it here is because in a lot of cases that ambiguity feels to me like, oh, you just didn't know, you didn't want to choose one fork in the road, and so you left it that way because you didn't want to take the risk as a storyteller. Whereas this movie does make it clear that a lot of that is part of the point of the experience. It's more thematic and feels more genuine to the story that there be those things that we don't necessarily know. And so it doesn't bother me as much here. Because, yeah, typically this, like, if this was handled in a different way, I would be furious with this movie for teasing us with all this cool witch shit and then not paying any of it off. It does a really decent job of making me not care that I didn't get that information. I was very caught up in the characters. I thought that story was really good.
I did have a worry that for that reason you would hate this movie, especially when I messaged you and you were like, oh, you definitely meant the witch movie, right? And I was like, yeah, I mean, if you didn't really like it, we can watch something else. And you're like, no, we can definitely talk about this movie. And that can be taken very threateningly, where I was
That's
like,
exactly
oh, man.
why I said it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, no, he found a message that I didn't know. And he's like, did you know that the creators are Nazis? And I'm like, fuck, no, I did not. They're not, for the record, at least as far as I know. That's not the case.
I did have that small moment until I realized they weren't going to do anything with the trans character, because I as soon as Adam showed up and I recognized them as a trans person, I got anxious about where that might be going, because those things are not always handled super well. And then we started getting into that whole thing about, like, they talk about how, like, in the big cities is where the movement is happening, that we don't burn witches anymore. And I'm like, wait, is this secretly gonna be some kind of like that movie we saw about the girl in the gas station in the middle of the nowhere when a sniper was shooting at her, and it's like, whoa, is this low-key about some crazy right-wing shit? And clearly not that. Thank God, clearly not that. But I was real anxious that we might be going there at one point.
I never even considered that this could go. I just have so much faith in humanity. Here's the thing, I really don't like the majority of people, and I feel like, unfortunately, self-included, we're all idiots, and we don't really understand what we're talking about 90% of the time, and we cause a lot of pain for our own benefit. And like, but at the same time, I'm like, people are too good. They'd never do that. Like, I'm both of those things at the same time, where I never even considered it. Like, I know people are awful, but I always assume that they're good until they prove that, no, I'm also one of the awful ones.
Well,
so
and
I never even thought about that.
I'm also well known as, like, if you need somebody on your team to point out all the ways this could potentially go terribly wrong so that you can address those in advance, I am your guy.
You're much better at being negative than I am.
I will find things potentially going wrong that you never considered. We call that hypervigilance. It's a trauma response.
Yeah, you did a lot of that at the film festival.
I sure did.
Oh,
how
all
could
these
this
people
go
probably
terribly
hate
wrong?
all these movies. They hate it.
I'm a bad person when it comes to how could this be awful.
Yeah, which is crazy because you put together a festival out of so much love, and then you went, clearly everyone's gonna hate it, and I'm like, you put so much effort into curating this.
Okay, so let me admit something that I very rarely have admitted out loud, Michelle, which is, as much as I genuinely am proud of putting this together and giving an opportunity for these films to be seen by people who would have never gotten the chance to see them in a place where they never would have gotten a chance to play, there is also a part of me who goes into every one of these things with a certain amount of ego and just like, oh, this is gonna be fucking rad, and like 400 people are gonna show up and it's gonna be the coolest thing ever. And then it's not. It's a very small but acceptable level of event for a first time thing. And then again, I'm just like, oh, I wasn't the king of everything. Everybody hates me now.
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of people. You might not have seen them, but they were wearing t-shirts that said "JD Proverse sucks and we hate his festival."
I saw every one of them.
Oh, okay, good. So I told them to like wear their sweatshirts when they were around you. Don't make it awkward.
Don't sugarcoat it, Michelle. It wasn't some of them. It was every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't, but that's because I had a custom pair of underwear made across the butt. It says JD Proverse sucks.
There was one dude who had actually tattooed it across his forehead. JD
oh yeah, that looked
sucks.
like it hurt. It was definitely fresh. He should have planned that in advance.
Yeah, well, it just seems like I hope it was worth it.
Might have infected.
This episode went on long enough that we hit a second therapy portion.
You know what? Those good ones always do.
Lots
of talk about poop in your pants. Lots of talk about Death Stranding 2, and then actually like a very solid conversation about the movie before we get back to JD hating himself.
In fact, I still have, I think, about 18 hours on my Amazon Prime rental. I think I'm going to download this onto my tablet and watch it again at work tonight just to see what little details I might have missed.
I do want to hear whether you view the witches as aggressors as much. And because I feel like if your mind switches, you're going to be able to pinpoint why mine did a lot easier, because I don't know why it changed.
Here's what I do remember is there are a lot of moments in here where you hear like TV broadcasts kind of half in the background and such. And I feel like there might have been some small details that came out of those that I didn't catch because they're very transient. They come and go very quickly, and they're not necessarily ever the focus of the scene that they happen in. So I feel like there may have been things in there that I missed, but it's I definitely think people should go see it.
Yeah. I always love when, similar to the film festival that you put on, even if we are rambling idiots who are doing this just because anybody can do a podcast and we just like talking and may as well record it and let other people listen to us two idiots, we do sometimes get to introduce people to films that are not super well known. I want more people to watch this, and then I'm hoping that we do get to see more from Richard and Gabriel in the future. I'm specifically not saying Gabriel's last name because I don't know, and I didn't look it up beforehand. I have a feeling it's like Binchesky, like something like that.
Yeah, but I'm looking right at it, and I typically at least have a sense for these, what appears to be like an Eastern European name, and I'm probably wrong on that too.
I'm going Polish.
But that's I'm not sure at all how you're gonna pronounce that.
Oh my god. I googled the last name to see if I could find pronunciation. Overview, born Poland. Did I fucking call that or what?
Yeah,
I think it's like Binchicki. Something along those lines.
It's very it's definitely very Eastern European for sure.
I'm so proud Polish that I perfectly nailed Poland. Oh man, I think this is the proudest I've been of myself in a very long time. I cannot pronounce it, but I can find the origin of the word. It's like me being a spelling bee champion. I cannot pronounce most words, Rue Morgou, but I can definitely spell them.
According to the quick Google search I just did, it's pronounced roughly as Binchitsky.
Oh, that's what I said the first time. Okay.
Now, and that is chit with a C, not shit with an S. Binchitsky.
I hadn't even thought of the possibilities of that. We had enough Binchitsky at the beginning of this episode. Okay, you need to go to work. You're going to be very late to work.
I am not. I'd leave at 10:15. I still got almost 45 minutes, Michelle.
Oh, shit. Tell us more about times that you've shit your pants.
No, we could be here all night. So let's... Now, I
got packages to deliver anyway. I saved an echidna right before we started recording.
You have an echidna?
Yeah, I saved him. This fucking game let me find an echidna and put him in a box. Oh, not a real, no, Death Stranding 2.
I was like, where the fuck did you find an echidna?
It would not be surprising. I am the lady who has had several hedgehogs, chinchillas, like an echidna. Fuck yeah, I'd have an echidna if I could.
Oh, sure.
I
but
win
what
an
I'm saying
echidna
is,
about that.
Where did you just randomly find and dig up an echidna is what I was
Amazon Prime.
And then,
they got everything.
It was in the game. All right, the dog needs to go pee, so I think we're about wrapped up here. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.